wine, so I'll keep it with me.
Okay. I won't drink you out.
You want to make the announcement? She makes the announcement.
Yes, that's what I want to say, because now it's 21 days, and I need everybody to have it in there.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Treasure Coast Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Stuart, Florida. Today is October 30th, 2022, at least I hope it still is. My name is Karen Olish, and I will be your worship associate for today. It has actually been 10 years since I've been in the pulpit as a worship associate, so I'm excited to be back. And I wanted to mention that we are, of course, a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all gender identities, ethnicities, ages, and backgrounds. It's wonderful to see all of our vaccinated members in the sanctuary, and we are also on YouTube. To be put on our email list or find out more about us, you can go to our website at tcuuc.org. And on our website, you can, of course, click the link to get our newsletter, and our newsletter has all of our announcements. I will be letting you know all of the things that are going on shortly. So do we have any visitors today? First time? If you feel comfortable, can you come up to the mic and introduce yourself? You don't have to.
Hi, my name is Orna Carmel, and I'm just here visiting my mom who lives here, and I'm a guest of Judy Chilone, and look forward to speaking with you all, meeting you.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, you can always ask me or one of the other members, Janet or Reverend Bob. So we have lots of things going on, which is really exciting as we get back to kind of a normal schedule after a few years of Zoom-only meetings, and we're sort of running the full gamut of things now. Friday, this November 4th, we have the Blackwater Saints, and they're going to be playing here again from 5 to 7. It's free. They're a wonderful group, and you can bring your own snacks. Al-Anon is meeting here on Fridays, and they meet from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. in Heston Hall, and the beginners meeting takes place from 9:30 to 10:15 a.m., and everyone is welcome. Also on Fridays, on Zoom with Reverend Bob, he does a current events session, and Fridays are very busy. We now have Tai Chi on Friday mornings from 9:30 to 10:30 with instructor Jessica Roberts, and you can contact Judy Bajoris. We have a brown bag lunch happening. The Lunch Bunch gets together on the first and third Tuesday of each month at Memorial Park, and that is 300 Southeast Ocean Boulevard in downtown Stuart, and everyone is welcome, rain or shine. We have a book club going on Zoom, and that takes place on Wednesdays at 11 a.m., and right now they're reading An Immense World. The hors d'oeuvres usually meets, but this November we're taking a break due to the Thanksgiving holiday. And speaking of Thanksgiving, on November 20th we're having a potluck after the service, and you can speak with Pam if you need any further information. There's also a sign-up sheet. It's going to be a wonderful event. I hope everyone can attend. On November 9th, if you're willing and able to work with the TCUUC Green Team on projects to improve our outdoor space, there's going to be a planning session at 2 p.m. I also wanted to bring up that there is going to be a UU Women's Retreat taking place in March. That starts March 31st through April 2nd, and it will be at the Dayspring Conference Center. There's more details on that in the newsletter. And for any of you that know any children, I am running an RE program during the Sunday service for the youth of all ages. So if you know anyone that is interested in participating, we would welcome them heartily. We are doing the Building Bridges curriculum from the UU website, which is basically a global religions curriculum. And then Ronnie also would like to come up and make an announcement.
Just pretend I'm Fred today because he's in North Dakota, but guess what he's doing? He's starting the Adventure Club, and you'll be getting stuff on, I think, the Friday update. The first, and it's all going to be in St. Lucie County, and the first one is November 17th. We're going to try to win badges and prizes from St. Lucie County. I do have 3 of these that I can give out after. Come see me in the office.
So those were a lot of announcements, and you don't have to memorize them all. They're all on our calendar on our website, and you have access to them also through our newsletter that comes out every Friday. I just wanted to say a big thanks to those who help with the service, Jackie Robbins for the great music, our greeters and ushers, our host Karina, who's in the back that you can't see, she's behind the scenes, our tech wizard Chris McGannon, Joanne Leone and Marguerite Gregory for the coffee and cookies, which will take place after the service today. Reverend Bob MacDonald is in the pulpit today, and I believe we are ready for our prelude. Our chalice lighting today comes from Dorothea Kaufman. From the bottom of my very existence, I am pervaded with light energy, shining colors to my eye, warmth to my skin, inspiration to my soul. In this unity of creative sparks and sparkling creation, life unfolds. Let us open our senses to the light within and around us and send it out with shining examples into the world. And so instead of some opening words today, I would like to do a guided meditation. This is a meditation that I learned while practicing with a Theravada monk in a Buddhist temple when I lived up in the Chicago area. It's probably something many of you are familiar with. It's a loving kindness meditation, but I'm going to add in a little extra piece today in celebration and remembrance of our loved ones that have passed. As you know, we have Halloween, Samhain, it goes by many names, coming up tomorrow, so I just wanted to presence that. So to get started, if you would get comfortable in your seats, and if you feel comfortable doing so, to close your eyes. We'll go ahead and take one deep breath in, and then exhale it out, letting everything go. Take another deep breath in, and exhale it out. And one last deep breath in, and then exhale. So in your mind's eye, I want you to picture yourself. And silently to yourself, you will say, may you be happy, may you be well, may you be peaceful. Next, I want you to picture a loved one that has passed on that you would like to remember. And as you draw that person up into your mind, I want you to say to them, may you be happy, may you be well, may you be peaceful. Then draw up a picture of your community, whatever that means to you. Maybe it's a community group you belong to, or the larger community here in Port St. Lucie, Stewart, Treasure Coast area, or maybe back home for those of you that aren't living here. And send to your community the words, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be peaceful. And finally, I want you to send loving kindness to our entire global community. Everybody on earth, all creatures, big and small, human, non-human, and say to them, may you be happy, may you be well, may you be peaceful. Take one more deep breath. And then blow it out. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes as you start to feel your presence coming back into the room. And when you feel comfortable, open your eyes. And now we will sing our first hymn. I'll ask you to stand if you are able to, and that hymn will be hymn 346. It will appear projected on the wall, and it is called Come Sing a Song. a song with me that I might know your mind. And I'll give you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. And now, for our affirmation, which should be coming up shortly. Let us recite our affirmation, speaking the first verse and singing the second. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another. All that dwell beneath the skies, let faith and hope and love arise. Let beauty, peace, and good be sung from every land and every tongue. Amen.
This is our time of sharing joys and sorrows. We hope that as you share yours, you know you are heard and supported. We ask that they be personal and that they be brief. In other words, not announcements or endorsements or you know. It's a joy to me to have Karen up here, to have a seminarian working with us. I'm going to stop asking her if she's overloaded because I'm afraid of what the answer might come to be. Seeing she has a job and a family and schooling, we're just happy she's with us and relatively sane. Who else has a matter of joy or sorrow to come to the mic or share from your seat, whichever you want? We say, tell us who you are first.
My name is Alistair. It's been a bit since I've been up here. So, personally, I have two joys. One of them being that I was recently gifted something that I wanted for a bit of time by a friend, and it was relatively expensive, and I am very grateful for that. The second one is I have rekindled a bit of friendship with someone I needed to make amends with. Me and this person have been talking for a little bit, and we are now on good terms.
Good. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Jackie Buckley. I have two joys to share. Last time I was here, I mentioned that my niece was having surgery on her lung, and I was very concerned. Good news is she survived the surgery, had some setbacks, but doing well, and I appreciate your thoughts. And that my younger son, David, has moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and just bought his first home, and I'm so happy for him. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Ann Nozawa. For the last 3 weeks, I've been having no transportation, and my life has crumbled as a result. This is my thank you to all the people who helped me directly with rides and gentle support verbally, and I am very deeply appreciative of all that was done for me. I don't guarantee never to ask for help again, because this was so nice and so well arranged and given that it's tempting.
Okay. We don't need to clap. Anybody else?
I'm Joe Giannicaro, and some of you know that I'm in an upcoming production of A Few Good Men, so this is a little bit of an announcement, but more it's a joy. It opens next weekend for 3 weekends. The joy is that it's a very challenging production to do. There's constant things of lights going up over here, then down over there, and up over there, and then somebody says something and somebody answers it over here. So it's a real challenge logistically to get that down. But my joy is that it's going very, very well. And, you know, community theater is a wonderful part of our lives. You know, it just adds so much. So I did bring some handbills, so if anybody's interested, I can certainly pass those out later. But anyhow, the joy is that it's coming together very well, despite how challenging it is. So.
Okay, Joe, good. Anybody else?
Anyway, my name's Bill Falk. I have a sorrow and a joy. Geraldine and I came back after almost 6 weeks in Southern California, and it's hard not to be a little wistful leaving your grandchildren, who you see only a couple times a year, so that's kind of a sorrow. But my joy is I'm so glad to be back here in my UU family and driving around and seeing all the political signs that remind me of how glad I was to be in Southern California.
Anyone else? Janet will move a stone for those that we don't say out loud, but we certainly have on our minds. This meditation reading is from the back of the hymnal. It's entitled, "It Matters What We Believe" by Sophia Lyon Faz. Some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feeling of being especially privileged. Other beliefs are expansive and lead the way into wider and deeper sympathies. Some beliefs are like shadows, clouding children's days with fears of unknown calamities. Other beliefs are like sunshine, blessing children with the warmth of happiness. Some beliefs are divisive, separating the saved from the unsaved, friends from enemies. Other beliefs are bonds in a world community where sincere differences beautify the pattern. Some beliefs are like blinders, shutting off the power to choose one's own direction. Other beliefs are like gateways, opening wide vistas for exploration. Some beliefs weaken a person's selfhood. They blight the growth of resourcefulness. Other beliefs nurture self-confidence and enrich the feeling of personal worth. Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world. Other beliefs are pliable, like the young sapling, ever growing with the upward thrust of life. Sophia Lyon Faz. And now moments of silence. Spirit of Life is like our theme song. It's hymn 123. We hum a verse, then we sing the verse. This is the time of our morning offering. I try to say every week in different ways that I hope all who come here experience generosity of heart and life. And we invite you to share your generosity so we can continue on with our messages. I have a couple volunteers I know now. I just forgot who they are. Let's see. There's Joe sitting right there looking for a role to play now. Joe, I need a few good men. Could you come and take a plate? All right, I need a few good women too. So Ronnie, will you join Joe? And you get it eventually anyway. Now we move from that happiness to maybe more somber and sober. I'm taking this hymn from our hymnal, but also the thought from the Christian tradition. And you've experienced it other places. We'll sing the first verse. Those who can stand in a moment, please do. And then after the first verse, I'll ask you to sit, and then I will pass the mic for starting here and then going across the aisle, down here, and then over here. I invite you to speak any name you want to of someone who is there for you but who has passed in the last year or so. It's our way of honoring our saints, our guides, the people that go on loving us even though they're not here. Thank you, Joe. I knew you weren't going to take it home with you. So anyhow, the hymn is 103. Those who can or are willing, stand, and we'll sing the first verse only at this point. Please be seated. Jim Lyman, a friend. Anyone in this room? Yeah, just stand so we see who's talking and then hand it to the next person.
Ira Harris.
Jean Potter.
Phyllis Emsick.
Yeah, Charlie Fike, a friend.
Ginny Beatty, a friend.
The 150 people who died in a crowd stampede in Korea yesterday.
Jane Hasselback, a friend.
Betty Fahey, my daughter's mother-in-law. Yes, my daughter's mother-in-law.
Bob Cadell, a very good friend of ours.
Aaron Billman Klein, my father.
Sally Falk Harrington, my aunt.
Jeffrey Webb, my friend.
Jim Newsom, friend.
Anne Varley, my aunt.
Phil Dante, friend.
Someone by the name of Alexander. He brought me great joy.
Mother Mabel. Joe and Gingerbert, husband and dear poodle.
Patricia Corbin, my sister.
Gilbert Miller, my dad.
David Evans, dear friend and neighbor.
Richard Urig, my father-in-law.
Phil Shaloni, my husband.
Peter Carmel, my father.
Peter Carmel, my husband.
Nancy Wolf, my friend.
I've asked Jackie to play a verse silent or quietly for us, and then we'll sing the last verse. And let's remain seated for the last verse. My theme for these few weeks has been things I fear we could lose. You may think the minister is somewhat in a panic. Sometimes I think the minister is and needs to be. The last topic, a couple of weeks from now, is sanity. You may think I should have started with that, and you may wonder if I'm going to end with that. But these are things I fear we could lose, and the topic today is Christianity. One of the best things I found in the West Virginia college I attended was my best friend, George Harris, whom some of you got to know. We met in the History of Christianity course we took in our first year. It wasn't a smart choice because we would have to take it again in seminary. So I guess we were just anxious to get into it. The professor spoke with a deep bass voice and made just about everything he said sound like a message from Mount Olympus or Mount Sinai. One of the first things he said was, Christianity has just about died in Europe. And then he said, many think Christianity began dying in 325, when the Council of Nicaea recognized it as a legitimate religion. That was under Constantine. You remember Constantine? He was baptized on his deathbed so he could count on a clean slate, a really super delete for the afterlife. So that made Christianity legal, and soon future emperors recognized it as the only legitimate religion, and the creeds had more political value than religious value, because the emperors needed the Christians to stop fighting over who had the right beliefs. So our West Virginia professor taught that using Christianity for political cohesion and muscle had the potential for destroying what Christianity offered the world. Sound familiar to anyone? Parenthetically, the Jews in the Roman Empire had to be tolerated because the Romans knew that the Jews knew how to head for the hills and do guerrilla warfare, like the Maccabees. If George, one of my lasting guides, were here, I would call on him to sing out two of Dr. Plummer's favorite Cyprian quotes. Now, I'm sure at least somebody here I know at least two here have heard of Cyprian. The first was, I should say Cyprian was around 250, a Catholic theologian and Bishop of Carthage. He famously pronounced, "Outside Mother Church, there is no salvation." Cyprian. And if you have to ask which church is Mother Church, you can be sure you are lost. And then the bass voice was like a drum roll. "He who does not have the church as his mother cannot have God as his father." Again, Cyprian, who has never been rescinded. Shirley, sorry, I guess you had to be there for that to really sink in. I think it's safe to say you have never had Cyprian quoted from this lectern, and you never will again. When I discovered UU in January 2007, I had tried many churches and denominations and concluded they thought religion was mainly about the afterlife. I never did. So I came to this door as a last resort. I sat close to the door the first week. I didn't know what to expect. I discovered you even welcomed Methodists. The second week, I offered to lead a book discussion of Marcus Borg's The Heart of Christianity, which I had just led in my last Connecticut congregation. About a dozen here signed up. I called it a faith discussion. The only rule was, tell us what you believe, but nobody will tell anybody else what they should believe. I knew you didn't need to hear that, but occasionally we had guests who did. For Borg, the heart of Christianity was compassion, which Jesus taught and embodied. Our group went on to read an earlier book of Borg's entitled Meeting Jesus Again for the First Time. In that book, he described Jesus' teaching about the heart of deity and the heart of the universe using the Hebrew word for womb, meaning the womb feels empathy, compassion for what the womb has produced. All metaphor talk, of course, but it seemed earth-shaking that a devout Jew, Jesus, would say deity is best understood as compassion, like a mother's womb. The wedding of religion and politics has been disastrous for both. We got founding fathers because they came from Europe, where Protestant and Catholic monarchs killed everybody they could for the sake of their souls and their land. As the Civil War, 1861 to 1865, is not ancient history to us. In a way, we're still fighting it, it seems, and fear it's breaking out again. So that war isn't ancient at all to us. In the same year, in the same way, the 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, was not ancient history to our founders. They knew that 25 to 40% of all Europe had died for control of lands in the name of religion. Armies of the time were self-funded. They plundered and robbed wherever they fought, and the 30 Years' War left Europe devastated. It has been reported that Russia, Myanmar, now formerly Burma, Russia and Myanmar are cooperating to help each other survive sanctions. Myanmar is a Buddhist country where Muslims have been oppressed by the military junta that deposed the Nobel-winning activist, democratically elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi. The national religion of Russia is the Russian Orthodox Church, and the leader, Patriarch Kirill, is considered a Putin cheerleader. Politics and religion are a deadly combination. We are seeing the same here. A religious minority has put a stranglehold on the Supreme Court and wanting that in legislatures, the House and the Senate, perpetrating one religious view on abortion, a minority view, perpetrating that upon the majority. I'm seeing placards that say there's more than one religious view of abortion. The denomination I came from called abortion a tragic choice, but it had to be a choice in tragic circumstances. Evangelical Christianity, which more than tolerates the dual allegiances of Jesus as Lord and a president who said he could shoot someone in the street with no consequences, evangelical Christianity has redefined its supposed Lord. Jesus was about servanthood and compassion, not power. But the patriots are coming armed out of the hills with AR rifles and now with a hammer to take power by any means necessary. Servanthood and compassion aren't in the picture, and that's a stake through the heart of Christianity. This past week, the Treasure Coast Faith Alliance Zoomed together to plan the Thanksgiving service. That service, incidentally, will be the afternoon of the 20th. So you'll have the morning worship, your meal together, and then you can go to the St. Joseph's, a full day of church, like the good old days. But anyhow, the group then asked, what else should we be doing? So I said, anti-Semitism is alive and well, actually thriving in our land and the world, and we can't be silent about it. Another candidate for president who ran to siphon votes said he could say whatever anti-Semitic thing he wanted to say, and Adidas et al. Wouldn't leave him. Well, he was wrong, but we ought to find out who isn't leaving him and do our shopping accordingly. In other words, who's okay with comments he's made. The Faith Alliance is going to plan community forums, like in library community rooms, and try to speak with one voice. Anti-Semitism is evil. Silence in religious bodies is also evil and keeps these viruses alive. And wannabe leaders today have hardly whispered a word in opposition to either. We need community forums also on homophobia and the Christian contributions to anti-Semitism and the Christian contributions to racism and anti-gay. The late Episcopal Bishop Spong wrote his book, The Sins of Scripture, more blunt than most Christians can hear. And the late Episcopal chaplain, Peter Gomes of Harvard, wrote about the same in his weighty volume, The Good Book, how Christian Scripture has helped oppress Jews, blacks, gays, and women. On 60 Minutes, Gomes confessed it was harder to come out on Harvard's campus as a Republican than as gay. Someone mentioned after the service last week concern about free speech on campus being blocked by leftist protesters who disagreed with visiting speakers. I agree with Bill Maher, who says the only counter to free speech is more free speech. At that Faith Alliance Zoom gathering this week, we all met a new leader of the Treasure Coast Humanist Society. So she and I met for coffee and an exchange of ideas. She came from no religious background and tried various churches and settled into UU in eastern Connecticut for a number of years. I asked in her early search what she was looking for, and she said initially for a religion that did minimal damage. That tickled something in me and I couldn't let it go. A religion that did minimal damage. What a low bar. But we all know the search for truth and meaning has to confront a history of religious condemnation, exclusion, and put down. Figures like Cyprian and Calvin made religion about walls, not bridges, about how sorry you can be, not about how loving you can be. The great psychiatrist Erik Erikson wrote that the first need of every human being is acceptance, affirmation. That's what religion should offer as the floor, the door. Come in and affirm your gifts and share your gifts. For many of us, UU has been like rehab or recovery, giving religion another chance because we found one that did the same for us. I've heard it said many times that while church was going on upstairs, the real church fellowship was going on downstairs, AA. Why? Because downstairs, everyone was welcome and knew it. You even got to say your name and what you had in common with everybody else in the room. Curiously, something similar used to be said about the neighborhood bar. More accepting and warmer welcome than in the area churches. How did the Christian religion, beginning with a teacher of compassion, develop such a reputation for divisiveness and demonizing? Another psychiatrist helped me, yes, I've gone to a lot of psychiatrists, helped me with that in Games People Play. Eric Byrne. Games people play. A basic human interaction is mine is better than yours. Mine is better than yours. Add that to any religion, and the religion begins to disappear. Christianity may well be going the way it did in Europe. Millennials are more comfortable with none of the above. Just as if it's the truth, it doesn't matter who said it. Also, if it's the truth for you, for me, it doesn't matter how many agree with you. Somehow the musicals Brigadoon and Camelot come to this mind. One brief shining moment of compassion. If the song is to continue, we know we have to do the singing. Christianity wasn't supposed to be about power. Sadly, historically, that's what humans have been about and will use anything. The closing hymn is 128, 4 verses. 128. We're kind of a work in progress here. I'm sure you've gathered that. Let's stand as willing and able. Please be seated. As Karen extinguishes the chalice, the closing words are familiar ones from Mother Teresa. A lifelong sharing. Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, abled or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the doing, a lifelong sharing of love with others.
Go in peace.